All right, people, welcome back. Got the home version today. Coach Tony took a weekend off. All right. Okay, we've got a couple seconds here. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Really appreciate the feedback. I mentioned your kids are doing the homework. Appreciate the text, the videos. Tonight's a pretty important topic. Some of you, if you're watching live right now, you might be multitasking. I don't expect you to just be fixated on this guy. You hear enough of me. But I will tell you, when it comes to recruiting, remember that I said this to you. Players will either go to your team or leave your team based on your ability to deliver in the recruiting department. Did that perk your ears up? How would you like to be one of the coaches that people know your record, your history, your reputation? In fact, there are many coaches and programs that do very well because of their experience in getting players to school. We've talked about Firecracker Scholar Program, recognizing our scholar athletes. I think that you'd agree. There are far many more athletes doing great in the classroom than maybe future All-Americans on the softball field. So the majority of the market to most of our players in the Firecrackers, which are not potential All-Americans, who cares? We're dealing with young people here and young women that have a chance and an opportunity to design their lives. So this is a very, very important area, or let's just say a great area of opportunity like we talk about all the time. But like with anything else, to what degree do we actually have training as coaches? You're going to see something at the bottom of this first slide. Your tools, your most valuable tools in the recruiting game are your knowledge and your ability to communicate. So if your knowledge comes from just listening to what other people are doing, but not really diving in, well, there's an opportunity for you, right? So let's get into this a little bit. I got some slides, put it all in perspective. In your drives, in your emails, however Juliana gets this information to you, there's some really cool stuff. Obviously, the slides that we show on the weekends, but there's going to be a couple of videos. One video is of our select practices that we do on the weekends. They're long. They're 3 to 5 hours. So don't try to watch it all. Just skim through it. Look at different parts. You're going to see how we present our players, not only when we're evaluating them, but we're also giving them drills to be able to develop their skills, but we're also giving them drills that they can showcase the skills that they have. So check that out. And then there's another one I think we put in that's on a Thursday night workout. And I believe this one is really an attention to detail of some of the defensive fundy drills, right? So the flat gloves and stuff like that. But as we start to get into really the meat and potatoes of recruiting and where our greatest opportunity lies, it lies in the details. It lies in our ability to present ourselves that much better. That much better. Okay, hold on real quick. Sorry. Okay. So let's go to some slides. Let's check this out. Attention to detail, opportunities. Let's go. Okay, winning the recruiting game, not stressing, not oh no, I'm not doing well, but the stuff that we talked about from an untrained mindset. So some pointers, but I think these pointers really hit home. Be a captain and reassure your passengers. We talk all the time about Coach Tony, this guy. I'm lost in analogies constantly because I feel like softball's so ambiguous. Softball is its own animal, but we don't really see it as we compare it to other things. So when I mention to you that you are the captain of your ship, you are the captain of your plane, you are in charge. What do people expect from their captain? Well, gosh, I mean, real pilots have been trained to fly, right? And most of us haven't. But assimilate, be an actor. Your job is to reassure your passengers. Your job is to reassure your families that you know what you're doing. And the great thing about the Firecrackers, it's bigger than any one of us. It's about all of us. So it's not on any one of our shoulders because we have so many resources. We have such a large network. And if you're new at this and you don't know how to plug in, ask. There's so many different ways for you to plug into our resources and our network of information and experience. But the most important thing is when we get on that airplane and we walk by the cockpit, we are getting an impression. We are getting an impression right away from the way that the captain dresses, the way they present themselves. Are they cordial? Are they looking at us? It's pretty much what we see. We really don't walk by the cockpit and see and hear somebody going, "Oh man, I got to fly with Bob today. He's not a very good co-pilot," or whatever it is. So remember this: be a captain. Reassure your passengers. Reassure your parents. As far as recruiting goes, this is a trap that you can fall into when you're well intended, but you don't have the ability to really plug into our experience. And so building a relationship with coaches over time is most important for you. Building a relationship with college coaches so that when they see you, put yourself in their positions, right? And every time you see somebody, oh, here it comes. How long is it going to take before they put a profile in front of me? Yes, that's what we're all there for at showcases and recruiting tournaments. But think about it. When do you like to be approached and how do you like to be approached, if at all? And what turns you off? Whether it's a salesperson or someone wanting to pursue a conversation with you or whatever, but what turns you off? And in the end, the pressure of this moment for this player, for this game right now, because if I don't go over and talk to that coach, that family's going to get mad at me and possibly leave my team. So there you go. You see the coach and you just realize, hey man, my family's got to see me doing this. I get this. But they don't know what your conversation's like, and they shouldn't know what your conversation's like. And I'm going to interject this real quick because I didn't make a point of this. When you are in the recruiting game and you're having conversations with coaches, and a coach tells you that they like one of your players, they like your players, okay? Like does not mean I'm prepared to make her an offer. So when we talk about reassuring your passengers, reassuring them isn't passing on so-and-so likes you, so-and-so likes you. Hey, so-and-so talked to me and they really like you. You're teasing them. Okay. Because most families are emotion based. Now, again, I'd like to say with training, they understand that this is just a preliminary process, but most families don't. And they want to hear that. They want that little nugget of like, whatever, right? But be careful because you're lost in the moment of this player. And this coach is going to be here more likely than not a lot longer than this player that is going to age out in what, 1, 2, 4, 6 years. But the relationships that you all have with coaches that relationship's going to last a lot longer. So remember this, build relationships over time with college coaches. Get to know them. Thank them for coming. Let them know that if there's anything they want to talk about, they see anything they like, to approach you after the game. Our profiles are right over there, right? Make it as least invasive as possible. When you learn to read the room, you're going to see when coaches respond at different levels. And they're very good at this because they know this. They know that just a little morsel out of their mouth can kind of create a big stir. Sometimes that's intentional, but they certainly don't want to mislead people. Be proactive and diligent in your recruiting. Be proactive. So this is not proactive. We went to this particular tournament and we got on bad fields and there were no coaches there and this tournament sucked and our kids aren't getting recruited. That is about the most untrained statement that you could ever hear. And you all know how often we hear that statement. The fields that we play on, yes, there's factors in that. Yes, it's great to be on the main field. But is that the only way? No, because when you're putting on a show, when there is something, when you deliver the goods, when you know how to create something that is appealing, it doesn't matter where you are, including just a video clip. But we need at some point to do something in person. Be proactive in pursuing communication, making sure that you're getting involved in the process. We'll talk about this on the next point. So be proactive and be diligent. Give yourself to this. Well, the first thing I see in my mind when I tell you this is that the bandwidth challenge, right? Nobody has the time that it takes. And then some of you are control freaks, right? You want everything done right away. You want it done your way. You want it done right. I get that. But being proactive and being diligent is not being like obsessed to the point to where you're over involved and you're trying to do everything on your own. We've talked about this. We will talk about this. So be proactive and diligent. Don't sit there and wait for things to happen. Don't think that there's a tournament, a field, a person that's going to pass coaches in front of you. Yes, but your best source of delivering your players is you and your players directly to a coach. If I'm a coach and I know that this kid has appealed to me with her videos and I know that she's only 15 minutes away or 10 minutes away, I've got to go see that kid because, as I tell you in the next slide, there's ways that we will win this recruiting game. And it's not by doing this where the emails and all the communication happen first, and then a coach watches your players on video and on the field and you don't get the response you want. This whole session is about getting that response. Get your players involved in the process. Get your players involved in the process. The experience alone is going to stay with them when they're done playing ball. Whether they're doing it right or not, yes, oversee what they're doing. Take a look at what they're doing, but do not do it for them. Remind and encourage your parents to not do things for your players. Even when players are proactive, when players are very involved, you've got to be careful of the little things of what copy and pasting coaches' names on the same email. Because think about this. Two coaches are out of field and say, hey, did this kid write to you? Yeah, she did. Hey, let me see your email. And it says the same thing, except the name is different. Get your players involved in starting to look at schools, starting to understand a little bit about the background of the coaches. Honestly, there's a small percentage of kids that love something so much that they might know what they want to do right now. But I will tell you, in 35 years, there's way more players that declared a major in something that they realized is not what they really want to do the rest of their lives. So getting them involved in the process, the communication, the writing the emails, being diligent with their own business is great experience for these players. All experience is good. Use social media and sports recruits to showcase their skills. Social media. Again, please understand that we make such an effort to be cost effective with you and that you don't have to do everything that everybody else is doing. There is a point in time when people were spending $500 to $900 on recruiting videos, where someone goes out there and videos your kid for 3 to 4 hours and then charges you an arm and a leg for editing and music. YouTube, Instagram, dedicated only to softball highlights. Remember, when we go to a channel to watch something, we don't want to sort through commercials. We don't want to see a bunch of things that we don't want to watch. We want to get right to the meat and potatoes of like our category. Is it a documentary? Is it a crime drama? I want to get right to a hitting video. I want to get right to a highlight, but I do not want to watch a bunch of base hits, ground balls up the middle to move a runner from first to third. That is not exciting. Use social media. It's a free source. Twitter or X, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, free. Dedicate it just to recruiting. And then dedicate another site to like who you are as a person, because the kids' regular Instagram, a lot of kids have 2 Instagram accounts. And there's the ones that they share with coaches, and then there's the ones that they keep kind of more personal. Sports Recruits is a really good platform. If you have not checked out Sports Recruits and you're a coach, if you're a coach of the Firecrackers and you don't know about our partnership with Sports Recruits, that's my fault. And that's our fault. We have been with Sports Recruits for quite a few years now because they continue to deliver what our teams need. They continue to be progressive and grow with the sport. They've now just had a merger with another company, but everything will stay as it was with us and Sports Recruits. And here's the biggest thing. The team package for Sports Recruits is a regular $1,800 for a team. And as Firecrackers, you get it for $700, I believe. It's $1,100 off. This is good for you to know when you are hearing those statements about everything is so costly. And even if the Firecrackers are so costly, or Rico is all about making money. I understand the perception, but it's just not true. $1,100 off of a team package of Sports Recruits. And the reason that we like this was when you pull up a Sports Recruit profile, the very first thing you see is the profile and all the list of videos. We shouldn't have to click on a link and make us do 2 clicks to go find the videos. And the other thing I would encourage you is when you're using platforms and you're posting videos, put your best videos first and stack them that way. And title your videos with home run, grand slam, walk off, diving play. Do not title your video with zoom into June, game 3 on Saturday. That means nothing to anybody. So really important when we start talking about presenting yourselves, right? Encourage your players to build an organic presence online. Think about this. Social media is going to be part of their lives. And I understand because there's so much craziness. There's a lack of rules and regulations, and we got to be careful with younger kids. But our kids have to start understanding how to present themselves and an idea how to present themselves to the public. Softball is what we do. And for maybe someone like me, it's who we are. But actually, no, I'm a person. And very few softball players are able to tell a story about who they really are, or what things in life they really like, or what their passions are, or how they would want to change the world someday, or some kind of background story on family hardships or opportunities, whatever it is, or other talents, musical talents, whatever it is. I ride in a rodeo. Everything that you can do to create engagement with your players that separates them away from the other 10,000 5'5" second baseman. So building an organic presence, there are not a lot of softball players, even at the pro level, that have a voice and talk about something unique and personal. There's certain things that people will stand for and talk about, but there's not enough. I think there's great opportunity for our kids to really tell their own story, which again makes us really like them more when we know something about them that's very intriguing. Get educated on academic scholarships and grants that are available, especially because so many of our kids do well in the classroom. But where do we find that? Now, this is just for the few coaches that are on this call or in the select program. You few coaches that are in the select program, you need to understand something that I personally want to deliver something to you that is so above what the average coach does who's not investing in this, because this is what I love. I love competition. I love for someone that takes a chance on something that we're doing right now on this meeting or on this field. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to hear a little bit about a competitive Tony, right? I want to compete. I want to compete with someone else that wants to teach their players online on how to look good. I want that competition and I want to win that competition, but I want to win it through you. You listening, you're on this call, which is, it's important to me that I deliver to you a grand slam in information. You might hear a little more passion from me. I try not to say anything inappropriate, but it's the truth. We got here by competing and being the best in show. Think of that term, the best in show. There's a certain pride and there's a certain trophy case that comes with it, but that's not what obsesses us. What obsesses us is the process of building this. So get educated on all the things that are available and remember this, that your tools and your knowledge, let me roll that up. Your tools are your knowledge and your communication. Just the simple points that we have here. And by the way, the reason I brought this up earlier on the FC Softball School, all of our coaches meetings on Tuesdays are listed. And if you're not able to make those meetings, don't even want to listen to this guy for another hour. Find a 15-minute segment where Coach Adam Glickman delivers his recruiting portion of that game. You have probably 50 meetings that have some gold nugget, recruiting, usually about 10 to 15 minutes into our meeting. There's no excuse other than I didn't put this in front of you. Let's go to the next slide. Best in show? What does that mean to you when I say that? Well, I hope you're not just thinking of like a puppy or a horse or something, but our kids. We got here by being best in show. The biggest wins take place in person. We set the table, we show the videos, we write everything on the emails, right? But now we are in person. People, you cannot get a first impression back. The first impression is such a beautiful opportunity that most people blow in softball. First impressions, I should say off the field. Hold on. That's just unacceptable right there. There we go. First impressions off the field, handshakes. You got a strong handshake? Have you had your players practice their handshakes? Try it sometime. You're gonna laugh at some of the things that you get, but teach them how to how to shake a hand appropriately like you own a business. Eye contact. Guess what? Players with overly dominant guys around them, dads, coaches, they're not real good at eye contact because they're always getting yelled at. Teach your kids how to look at people, present themselves, introduce themselves, shake each other's hands. It's awkward for a kid at first, but boy, does it make a statement. And most of all, being well-spoken. Ask your players questions. Did you learn anything today? Did you like anything about today? Ask your kids questions. Them being well-spoken makes them enjoyable. There are thousands of head nodders with weak handshakes, no eye contact, and they don't know how to speak on or off the field. First impressions on the field, your athleticism. Your athleticism. Look down here, right in the left corner of my circle, my cursor's going around. We know on your third step out of the batter's box whether you run athletically or not. You do not see, we call these L's, right? L's in the elbows, L's in the knee here, right? 90-degree bends. But that is a property of athleticism. Are you training athletically? Some of the videos that we show you, we use hurdles in our Thursday night workouts. What a hurdle does is it makes a player lift their leg up to lift over the hurdle, which engages now that flexion, that 90-degree bend. First impressions on the field, athleticism and communication. Look at the middle picture here. This kid's an 8th grader. She's got a great future in front of her. Communication. First impression, the very first pitch out of your hand. The very first pitch that your pitcher throws is going to make an impression, and you can never get that impression back. How many times have you ever went to go watch a pitcher, and then you see that first pitch, you're like, first swing, here it is. Or how about this? First pitch. Oh my God, did you see that? Look at that. Hold on. Who is this kid? First swing. Look at that. I got to slide this over. We talk about this. Start holding your finish in your practice swings, in your tee swings, in your cage swings. It presents itself. Same way as a pro basketball player, same way as a pro golfer. Now I can see that image. It's in my mind. It sticks. Your first throw, the first time you throw that ball. Great opportunity for us. Running form as I just talked about. And then how about your effort and your grit? Absolutely, your effort and your grit. All of the above provide opportunities for our players to be best in show. The videos that we load onto your files, scour through them, find drills. You're going to see that our attention to detail is just a little different or a lot different than most people. Now, when I show videos here from my house, it tends to work a little better. So take a look at, these are just little snippets, but what you're going to see in these little snippets are little details of how our players stand out just by playing catch or doing the simple things. Watch as these two players throw the ball. These are all slow down speeds. Look at how their arm stays out and their wrist goes down. That's it. Watch how their arm goes out and it's stylistic. Look, they're loose and they're relaxed. Different than most. This is the attention to detail that we have when we do our drills. We separate and we hold. These are called deflection drills. And then we hold so we can feel the position. We find positions and we hold them. And then we move to the second piece and we hold them. Did any of you know that really that sidearm throw looks a lot like your swing? Absolutely. Oh gosh, this didn't play all the way. Okay. Okay. Well, you can kind of see this. So what we have here is I'm even picky on how the balls are rolled at the same time. And then you will get this video, but you're going to see these kids actually separate their elbows and you're going to see them all look clean. That was a bad edit by Coach Tony right there. And then here's the one I told you earlier about. Just hold that finish. Hold that finish. It sustains the moment. We are trying to create as many aha moments as possible. Because when we create those aha moments and we capture people's attention, they remember us. We have thrived. We're winning the recruiting game is getting it done on the field. Our biggest opportunity is that we are competing against people that do all of the work off the field, and when their kids get on the field, I'm telling you, if there was professionalism and chef's kiss all over, I wouldn't be relevant. I'm out of here. You got plenty of places, but I just don't see it. I don't see the attention to detail. I don't see the diligence in the movements and the holds and the finishes and the repetition that continues to look good over and over. Watch the videos. You're going to see again, and a lot of times I'm making things up to make sure that we're having fun, but yet I'm also trying to stay consistent with things that we've done before. All right, so talk about delivering the goods. Sometimes it's your skill set, sometimes it's the way you play. We've got game candy, we've got camp candy, and some kids are both. So now I'm going to share one with you on a 16-year-old player that we have that just had a different type of experience at a pretty big school. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to even leave the sound on here because she's at Oklahoma. You're going to hear Patty Gasso on the microphone. Now, this is just collective. I'm going to run through a bunch of clips here that her dad sent me, but I'm going to tell you this. What I love is within 1 minute of this clip, this kid doesn't waste any time saying, here's who I am and here's how I play the game. Actually, let me turn the volume down. All right, so let's see here. Slappers, put the ball in play, put the ball in play, put the ball in play. Don't take pitches, don't foul the ball off. Now she takes an extended lead here to bait somebody, and she's delayed still to third. Now she's on third, not for very long. And then she takes off. Again, not the perfect running form, but fast. Now we got to play in right field. She dives for one. And there's a remark, or I don't know if you heard the reaction from Patty Gasso there. And now she's at shortstop, and I'm going to share this one with you. Look where she is taking her warm-up throws. When you have a strong arm, when you have a player with a strong arm, we don't have our players take throws from in the baseline and make a 60-foot throw. We want them to show off their arm, get as deep as they can, and throw the ball as far as they can, as hard as they can, and pop that glove. That presents itself differently. And my point here is that when we build up a sense of like beauty, a sense of value, if you ever notice, like, pardon the analogy, but those show dogs are proud to get out there. They have been trained. They're not beaten down into submission and just doing things for treats. There, you could see when an animal has a pride. And you definitely can see when people have a pride. Think about how many people in the recruiting space have an underlying strong sense of worry and like imminent doom. If I don't do well, then this happens. If I don't get on this field, if I'm not in that group, and it's just like this imminent doom, that's perception. Some of us are a little older, have seen people older than us that even when the imminent doom is there in their life, they still have a perspective that they go down with their dignity. In the end, the pressure of the scholarship can make or break your team. But in 10 to 15 years from now, the scholarship almost means nothing when you talk to that player 10 to 15 years from now, no matter where she went. What do you think your players are going to remember in 10 to 15 years? They're going to remember the way you were. They're going to remember the experience. They're going to remember 3 to 5 games that were like the greatest games. And for sure, one of them will probably be 10 and under because for some reason, we always remember 10 and under games. But they're not going to remember 95% of your games. But they're going to remember the experience. They're going to remember what you taught them. What kind of coach are you? What kind of coach do you want to be? Be the captain. Have your own dignity. Have your own sense of confidence and reassuredness. And pass that on. I meant what I said. Let's compete in recruiting. The secret sauce, Winning the recruiting game starts on the field. Doesn't start with an email for this guy. It starts with separating, deflecting, how fast are we coming to our stance, every little thing physically, so that no matter whether we're sending a 6-second clip on a phone, or we're at a camp, or someone's watching our kids at a game, watching our kids do drills in pregame that aren't just the typical drills that everybody else does, but again, using that as an opportunity to showcase our kids. Every time you get together, it's an opportunity to showcase your kids. The way your kids walk in the park can impress somebody. Think about this. There's your 30 minutes. Okay. Oh, got to give you a little, wait a minute. Hold on. Not so fast. What about our assignment, Coach Tony? Yeah. All right. We called it a task this week. All right. This is what I'm going to ask you to do. Make a list of your recruiting strengths and weaknesses. To thine own self be true. Just, hey, what do you feel good about? And what do you not feel good about? And list that. Create an effective approach for your team, right? Is your team eye candy? Do you have some athletes? If not, what's the best way for you to present your team? Is it personality? Is it communication? Is it energy? Create an effective approach for your team regarding recruiting. Even if you're a 14 and under coach and you're new to this, it starts now, not the pressure, but the presentation. Delegate and utilizes your resources that are available to you. Do not try to do this all on your own, because that bow will break. Delegate to other coaches. You might have the right type of parent to help with certain things, but most of all, utilize your players. Do not try to do this all on your own. And that's really, really hard. And you are a control freak like me, but utilize your people. All right. That is it. Have a great week. We'll see you guys on Thursday. See your players on Thursday and shout back at you. And do me a favor, try this stuff. Watch those videos in your drive. Try it. Test it. Try to break this. Use it and watch. Win. Compete and win. Adios, people.